Yo, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I would like to welcome you to another episode, Black Diamond FX. Excuse me. Had a little frog in my throat there. But yeah, welcome to another episode of Black Diamond FX this morning. So today I got something special for you guys, right? Um, a lot of people have been asking me about entry. So I want to show you guys how I enter my trades, my ICC setups. All right. So, and this is fairly easy. It's simple. It's real simple. When you see this, you're gonna be like, "What? Dog, you for real? You serious? It's really that easy?" Yes, it's really that easy. All right. So, we're gonna start from the top, however. We're gonna start with the indication. All right. So, as you can see, if you're looking at this, you can see price was bullish, right? Price had been bullish. So, we were coming up, we came down, we pulled back. As I stated in one of my videos, I think it was an indication video, that I like to mark the start and the ending of my pullbacks. All right, the start and the ending. So once I see this breaker structure right here, once we get this breaker structure, I go ahead on and I mark it, the pullback from the start all the way down to the finish, the high to the low or the low to the high, depending on which direction the market is moving. All right. So what do I do next? The next thing I like to do, okay, we get because the breaker structure is going to show you indication. Breaker structure is your indication. All right. Then you wait for the correction. You want correction to come down into an area of liquidity inside of the range. And when I say the range, meaning from where the pullback ended all the way to where the correction started. And let's go to a lower time frame and take a look. So say for instance, okay, so every time you get a breaker structure, you have a new range. You have ranges inside of ranges, trading ranges, all right? This this was a range here from down here to up here. But once this high got broken, okay, so now we got a new range. So now the range is from here to up here. So we look for an area of liquidity inside of this range. And when I say liquidity, I'm looking for fair value gaps, I'm looking for order blocks, supply demand zones, something like that, right? So you can see we have one right here. We got fair value gap, we got order block. If we go to the 30 minute, it's going to see right here, order block with a tiny fair value gap right there. All right. But it qualifies. Okay. So then what's next? Now I'm looking for my entry. Once we get into our area of liquidity, I'm looking for entry. So then I'm going to either the 5 minute or the 3 minute, either one. All right. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for the same pattern, that same ICC pattern, right? And I can clearly see, let's go to the one. I want to see what the one looks like. Because I want you guys to really, really see this. Look at this. Okay. So look, this is where we came into the liquidity, right? This is our area of internal liquidity. This is where price came down into. All right. What do we see? Remember, ICC, indication, correction down into liquidity, and then continuation, right? And remember I told you entry is the same thing? Look at this. Look, indication. This is the indication. Because it indication, right? We gonna mark it. Can mark it all the way there. Indication, correction. We got fair value gap. And it went on about his business. All right. Now I did come back a couple more times. Now let's look at this on the three. Look at this. There we go. See these? All right. Now look, remember I said order blocks are fair value gaps, right? Look at this. So we saw the fair value gap on that 1 minute, but let's look. We got an order block here. All right. Now I want you to see this because this, you might, if you're new to order blocks, you might not view this as an order block. But look, see this white candle here? This last down candle and see these three consecutive candles. All right. When you see these consecutive candles, you can consider it as one candle. All right. When they're consecutive, You consider it as one. So if this is one candle, remember the order blocks are like engulfing patterns. Okay? This candle engulfs this one. Price broke the structure, came back down into liquidity, and then zoom. All right. Now it did come back down again over here, but you would have made your money right here. All right. A little bit anyway. Like about, this was about from down here, 64 to here, 85. That's about 20 pips. 20 pips ain't nothing to sneeze at. All right. 20 pips ain't nothing to sneeze at. 20 pips is good. All right. 20 pips is real good. But check this out. Even here, even look, another entry right here. Watch this. See this high right here? I'm gonna mark it for you guys. This one, boom, indication, correction down into that same area of liquidity. Indication, I mean continuation. And then look, we already on the 3 minute. Look what happened. Indication here, correction down, what you see, fair value or order block, whatever you want to call it. See, we got these two. Look at these consecutive. We got fair value. Look what happened. Boom. Went on about his business. This time it never came back. Y'all see that? Let me see if I can find another one for you guys. Let's look at, let me go into 1 hour. Hold on a second. All right. Let's go. Let's see what let's see what we got over here. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at this right here. Let's look at US 30. Because look at what US 30 done. All right. We could still, this is the 1 hour. So price was coming down. Boom. Came up, came down, came up. So we would have indication here. Correction down into, see this big old fair value gap? And all this is on the 1 hour. All right. Look, you got an order block here. You can see all this one on the 1 hour. You don't even have to go down to the lower. Well, you do, but okay. So we got order block here. It didn't quite reach the order block, but it's still in the fair value gap. That's still an area of liquidity. All right. 15 minute. Let's take a look at the 15. All right. Now see, this is a lot of consolidation right here. This, I don't know. Reset chart view. Let me see. Yeah, this might have been a bad example right here. But yeah, this was a bad example on this one. And it's a bad example because you got all this consolidation. You got all this consolidation, right? And when you're in consolidation, market structure is going to be all over the place. So you can't really trust it. You know what I'm saying? Because look at this. See, we broke this low. We got bearish indication here. Yeah, it did come up, come down, but then look, it gave us bullish here, came up, came down, you know. I mean, market structure is all over the place in consolidation. You don't want to trade inside of consolidation, all right? And sometimes you might get in a trade not knowing that the market is about to consolidate. When it happens like that, I mean, there's nothing you can really do about it. All right. Let's find, I really want to find one that's real clear for you guys. Let's look at, I think silver might have had. Yeah, let's look at silver. Let's look at this right here. This one here, it came back down. Let's look at this one. This was the most recent one. Look like we might be getting it again right here. Let's see. I'll tell you what, since this is live, let's look at it. Let's see what we getting live. Boom, boom. Let's look at a live. Let's see if we getting a live one. The only thing is, I don't see any on the 1 hour. I don't see any liquidity nowhere in here where price is gonna come to. All right, no internal range liquidity. 15 minute. See that? All this has been mitigated. This mitigated. This mitigated. After this, there's nothing else. So that being said, don't be surprised if this starts a downtrend. All right. Don't be surprised if this starts a downtrend. But that's not why we're here for that. We want to let's look at this previously. Let's look at, right. We're going to look at, hold on. Let me erase this. All right. We're looking at entries now. We're not looking at that other stuff. All right. I just wanted to see, since we're live and we're getting indication right there, but maybe that might just be a liquidity sweep because we are at all-time highs. But we just keep an eye on it. But I want to show you. Okay, so we got indication, right? Now, a lot of times you're going to see pricing going to come back down below that indication. Sometimes that doesn't happen. This is one of those times because I don't really when I first started looking at ICC, it was yeah, you want the price come back down below indication. But the liquidity isn't always going to be below indication. Sometimes it's going to be right on it, right here. All right. Sometimes it's going to be above it. All right. And as you can see, there's no more internal range liquidity up in here. Yeah, you can say there's at below these lows right here, but I like to look at these fair value gaps and these order blocks right here. All right. That's why I would have picked something like this. And you can see it clearly. The fair value is right there. All right. Now this is the 1 hour. Price came down. Now let's see if we get indication, correction, continuation. All right. And that's why I made the video on internal and external liquidity because you have to know how to find it. And look, I can see my entry already, right? I can see a second entry anyway. Let me see. Hold on. Let's go down. Let's go down. Yep. And this is on a 15 minute. I see a 15-minute entry right here. Look at this. Came down. Boom. We broke. We broke this high. Gave us indication. Correction down into fair value and order block. Y'all, it's wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Don't change nothing. Don't do the same. Every day you go to the charts, look for the same thing. Every day. If you can't find it, no trade. No setup, no trade. Look at that. Boom. This was your entry, either here or here. And price never came back yet. All right. Up there. If you target this high right here, you would have hit your target already. You would have got in about 9:25, 9:30 last night. Hit your target around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. All right. Would have hit your target about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But the same thing you look for on the higher time frame for your setup is the same way you find your entry. Look, let's look at this one right here. Let's see if this one gave us. Hold on. Let's see what this gave us. This right here. See, you got the indication. You got the correction down into the liquidity, down into fair value gap right there. It almost looks just like this one because it's right there. But let's see what it looks like. All right. Now, it could have came all the way down here. You just got to be ready for it. All right. If you miss it, you miss it. Just wait for a second opportunity. All right. Now let's see what we got. We go focus on this area here. 5 minute. Look, hold on. Let's go to 3. Let's look at the 3 minute. And it was indication correction down here. Look at what we got. Price came down. Might be able to see it a little more clearer on the 1. A little more clear. Yep. Look at what happened. Price came down, gave us indication. You can indication down here. This is on the 1 minute. You really can. What's this thing? Stop doing that. But you really can get it on the 1. And look at all this. Order block, fair value gaps right here. Look at see these big long consecutive candles here. There's no bearish candles, only bull candles. These last two, that's your order block right here, where price came back down to. Where did price come back down to? Right in there. That's your entry. Target. My target would be this high right here. Look what happened. Boom, way over there. Come on, man. Come on, man. That is 100 from down here, from entering down here, 61.3, let's say 61.38 to 62.7. That's almost 140 pips. That's almost 140 pips on silver. Silver pays very, very well in Forex and in futures. All right, y'all see that? Powerful. The same thing. Bruh, make this as simple as possible. Trading is not hard. The hardest part of trading is fighting your own flaws, fighting your character flaws, fighting the greed, fighting the anxiousness, the impatient. That's the hardest part of trading. The actual process, following the steps. If you can follow directions, look, if you could get a box of cake mix and follow the directions, you can follow a trading strategy. The hardest part is your own overcoming your own character flaws. All right. If y'all like this video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Share this with 100 of your friends. Use my affiliate links at the bottom to get those prop firm accounts. I will be adding more. All right. Holler at you guys later. Deuces.